The air in the conference room turned to ice. Nate, a 43-year-old senior chemist, had just been told his $92,000 salary was being slashed to $36,000. The reason, according to his boss Dana, was a strategic restructure. But for Nate, a divorced father with full custody of his 11-year-old son who suffers from Crohn's disease, it wasn't a restructuring, it was a message. They thought they had me by the throat, Nate recalls. They knew about my son's medical bills, the expensive treatments, the insurance that barely made a dent. They thought I was desperate enough to take anything. The pay cut was merely the final, clumsy step in a calculated campaign to push him out. For months, he had been sidelined, meetings were cancelled without him, lab access was restricted, and blame for minor errors was laid squarely at his feet. Nate, however, wasn't panicking. He had seen it coming. And more importantly, he had been preparing. The basement lab and the loophole. While Nate had turned CleanMax's failing sanitation chemical division into its top revenue stream, his most significant breakthroughs weren't born in the corporate lab. They were forged late at night in his modest basement, on his own time, using equipment he bought himself. I had work to do, and I didn't owe them my weekends, he states. That night, after the disastrous meeting, Nate pored over his old employment contract with a red pen. He zeroed in on a critical clause: company intellectual property, IP, only covered work produced during company hours on company premises with company resources. His basement creations, meticulously documented with timestamps, receipts, and lab logs, were his alone. He immediately hired Jared, a sharp patent lawyer from Columbus. The verdict was swift and sure: Nate's innovations, including a crown jewel cold water compound that cut heating costs by 40%, were his proprietary property. 3 provisional patents were filed under his name. The double game. While Nate played the part of the stressed single dad for CleanMax's executives, begging for time to consider their offer, he was already negotiating with their biggest competitor, Caltech Solutions. In a clandestine video call with Caltech's head of R&D, Marcus Bennett, Nate laid out his full portfolio. The offer was staggering: a senior product director role with a $180,000 base salary and full R&D authority. Nate had one non-negotiable condition: he would license his patents to Caltech, not transfer them. He would own his work. They agreed. The boardroom showdown. 2 days later, Nate walked back into CleanMax, not with resignation, but with a manila envelope. He interrupted a high-level meeting and dropped it on the table in front of a stunned Dana. Licensing offer $4,250 per formula, per month. That's $12,750 total. Starting immediately. When Dana claimed he didn't own the patents, Nate spread the filed, timestamped documents across the table like a winning hand. He revealed his new position at Caltech and gave them an ultimatum: sign by Friday, or the licenses would be gone forever. The room fell silent. The threat of losing their top IP to a direct competitor was a nightmare scenario. When Dana tried to intimidate him by mentioning his son's health, Nate countered with the threat of exposing her emails to the board. He held all the cards. Victory and a new beginning. CleanMax's legal team caved within 48 hours. The contracts were signed, and the funds were wired. Nate secured a $12,750 monthly royalty stream for the very formulas the company had tried to steal. Shortly after, Dana was quietly ousted. But Nate's story didn't end there. At Caltech, he didn't just rest on his laurels. He spearheaded the development of a revolutionary, integrated cleaning system. A network of smart, talking agents that was impossible to reverse engineer. This bundle platform became an industry gold standard, decimating CleanMax's market share. A year later, in a stunning turn of events, Caltech acquired a struggling CleanMax. Nate was appointed director of R&D over the merged entities. His first act was to stand in the same conference room where he'd been handed the pay cut and address the remaining staff. "We're not doing things the old way anymore," he told them. "If you want to build something better, you'll get every resource I can give you. But we're not playing the old games. The quietest moves make the loudest impact." Today, Nate's office looks out over a transformed company. The culture of politics and stolen credit has been scrubbed clean. His son Liam's health is stable, their lives secured. Reflecting on his journey, Nate sees the pay cut not as a punishment, but as fuel. They had titles, budgets, board seats. They had the illusion of power, he says. I had a plan, and I made it count. In the end, the quietest moves made the loudest impact. No one saw it coming, but they damn sure felt it.
Thanks for watching PastQuest. If you enjoyed the journey into history, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing stories from the past. See you in the next quest.